Hello again everybody! So today we're back and it's been a while since my last video. I've had quite a hectic few weeks, but I'm back now and I've got quite a few things planned for the next few days, so make sure you look out for them. For today, happy Easter everybody, I'm back with my book haul for March, the last month. So actually this month I didn't get as much as I did in the month previous, and it's probably not a bad thing because I've got more than enough books as it is anyway. But what I did get this month was a really varied, interesting bunch of stuff. And without further ado, I'll get straight down to showing you what it is. The first book which I got last month was None of the Above by Rick Edwards. So I've had a bit of a non-fiction binge at the minute, and this was particularly interesting because obviously the general election's coming up in the UK in about a month, and I felt a little bit uninformed this time. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this. Rick Edwards hosts Free Speech, which is a TV programme about getting young people involved in politics and giving young people the chance to ask their questions to politicians and the government, etc. So it's quite an interesting perspective he's coming from. And this book is essentially all about getting young people to be involved in politics. So it goes through talking about why young people should be involved, that if you have a vote, if you make your voice heard, you're going to get more back from it, all those kinds of things. And it does it in a really good way. It's really impartial, and it's about why you should vote, not necessarily who you should vote for. So pick that up because I wanted to get prepared and really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to doing some other political reading in the next few weeks. So the next book I got last month was The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. So there's an interesting story to this one. This I actually set aside at work last year before Brandon Sanderson visited the shop. I was away on holiday at the time, but wanted to make sure I got all my books signed. I then completely forgot that I had this signed at work, never bought it, and the other day someone found it again in the back of a cupboard. So finally, 9 months after Brandon Sanderson was in the shop, I've got this. Now, I've still not read his actual Mistborn series. It's one of those ones that people keep telling me I need to read, and I know I'll love them. It's just quite a big commitment to start a trilogy of that length. But very glad to have found this, because I did wonder where it had gone, and I'm looking forward to reading it once I finish the others. So next up is Look Who's Back by Timur Worms. So this is originally a German book that's just kind of made it over here and is now massive here. The basic concept is that Hitler wakes up in 2011 in Germany and doesn't know what he's missed in kind of the 60 years since. So it's all about Hitler rediscovering the 21st century Germany and what's become of his country, and then restarting his campaign to try and get this perfect Germany that he was after in the first place. So it's a really interesting concept, and it's a really eye-catching cover. It's one of the things that's made it really successful. And I'm actually partway through it, as you can see, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm reading it for our book club at work. This is the book we've picked this month, something a bit different, and really enjoying it. I really was looking forward to reading this, and I'm glad I got around to it. My personal favourite part, and this is the only bit I ever really talk about, is on the blurb, it says, he's back, and he's furious, like Fury. How good! Whoever came up with that earned their wage for that day, to say the least. But it's a really interesting one, something quite different. I'm really enjoying reading it at the minute. So another one I got sent through, this is actually a proof I got sent from a publisher, is Day 4 by Sarah Lotz. So Sarah Lotz wrote The Three, which is a kind of apocalyptic conspiracy theory style book. It's fiction about 4 plane crashes at the same time, and in 3 of the 4 plane crashes, 1 child survives, and it's about the stories and the concepts and the ideas that the rest of humanity makes up about these crashes and what they mean and what they symbolise. And one of the interesting things about it is it's told in a kind of unusual narrative style with things like blog posts and all those kinds of Twitter exchanging things that aren't quite as used yet. So it's a really interesting combination of factors that I really enjoyed. This is a sequel, which I did not know she was writing. And I don't really know much about this, I have to say. I've not really looked at it. The blurb on the back isn't the most comprehensive, but it's got coloured edges, so that's a win straight away. But I know that I really enjoyed the first one, and this uses a similar style, so I know I'll enjoy this one as well. And I'm looking forward to getting round to reading this one soon. The next things I bought were actually very impulse decisions. I was in the shop one day, looking around the manga section. I'd read Bleach, as I've talked about in the past, and really enjoyed it, and hadn't picked anything up since. And thought, right, let's have a look and see what else there is. And ended up buying really quite a lot of stuff. So I'll go through them in turn. Firstly, I bought the 2nd volume of Bleach. So read this as soon as I got it. Really interested. I loved the first part. It's all swords and demons and battles and quirky tongue-in-cheek humour. Basically, it's me in a book, and I really enjoyed that one. So the second one was kind of quite easy choice to pick up. But after that, I decided to branch out a little bit. So I bought Sword Art Online. So as soon as I saw this, I knew this would be the kind of thing I'd love. It's essentially about a world where there's a virtual reality multiplayer online RPG that's been created, and when the game's released and everybody logs in, they find that there isn't a log out button, and there is no way for them to leave the game. And it's really interesting. I remember I played games like Dot Hack and thing on PlayStation 2 back in the day, all about these virtual realities and conspiracies within games and those kind of things, and I absolutely loved it. And as a big fan of RPGs, and especially Japanese RPGs, I knew this would be something I'd love. And I've just started watching the anime as well. Also interesting, so I'm looking forward to getting around to reading that. And then lastly, mainly for this art style, which is quite distinctive to other manga, I found it's a little bit more, I don't know, it feels like more real. It's very, very realistic in its portrayal in comparison to a lot of the more cartoony manga. And this is kind of a little bit Hunger Games-y in concept. Essentially, whenever someone's found guilty of murder, they're sent into this Dead Man Wonderland, where they basically have to fight off demons, and it all sounds, again, very similar to Bleach, very boyish action style, and I'm looking forward to getting around to reading that as well. But I know that I've really enjoyed manga since I started reading it a couple of months ago, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these ones are like too. So the last books that I bought is actually more of the Penguin Little Black Classics series. So when I've just got these out to count how many I've got this month, it's quite a lot more than I thought it was. There are 16 more here. So there are only, for me, 40p each, so I can deal with it. But I've actually put together, because I'm a cool kid, a list of all the books now, and I'm crossing them off as I get them, and I'm determined to get the full collection. I think overall I've got about 35 now, so I'm nearly halfway there, and I'm determined to finish it off. I've already read a couple of these because they're so easy. You can read them in a couple of hours, in a night, or whatever, if you just want something different to what you're actually reading. And I'm really enjoying them still, and I'm really glad that my collection's filling up. So there we have it. That's my book haul for March. It's a really, really good random mixture of things, I have to say, from manga to sci-fi to historical non-fiction to comedy fiction, all over the place. It's a really interesting mix, and I'm really looking forward to reading loads of these. I think in terms of book hauls, this is one of the ones where I'm most excited about the books, and I think I'll actually read all of those. Some I've already read, in fact, but I think I'll read pretty much all of them in the next few weeks, whereas with some book hauls from the past, the books have sat on my shelf for ages. So that's a good sign. Other than that, I'm going to leave my Twitter and Goodreads down below as ever. Leave a like and subscribe and comment if you enjoyed it. I'm intrigued if any of you have read any of these. Let me know what you thought about them. And otherwise, I'll be back in the next couple of days with my wrap-up and to be read for March and April. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.